Welcome to Helmuth Ford, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Hi, this is Stacy from Shuttler Insurance Services. Come see me on the east side of the square in Sigourney for all your insurance needs.
The Retro Antique and Curiosities Crawl is this Friday and Saturday. Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Embark on a shop-hop adventure designed for people to discover hidden gems in shops and communities in a well-organized and distinctive antique shopping experience. With shops in Oskaloosa, Pella, and Eddyville. For more information, find Retro Antique Tour on Facebook. Come have a fun night with the band Brass Pair performing at the Keswick Tavern this Saturday night. The band will be playing from 8 to 11 p.m. with no cover charge. The Keswick Tavern is located at 117 South Iron Street in Keswick, Iowa. Brass Pair is an Eastern Iowa rock and variety band specializing in music from multiple genres. They're going to play the big, juicy hits this Saturday night at the Keswick Tavern from 8 to 11 p.m. No cover charge. And welcome in. It's time for the Tuesday night tune-up. We are live at the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch, and we do thank Pizza Ranch for being our host sponsor. We thank all of our sponsors for being on board with us this year for the Tuesday night tune-up. That includes not only the Pizza Ranch, but also Nutrien Ag Solutions in Keswick, Sigourney Body Shop, Julie's Homestyle Cafe, Copeland Auto Body, Sinclair Napa, James Family Greenhouse, and Sigourney Motors. Let's take it live here to our host, Safe Grafke. Oh, Safe, we've got a newbie on the show with us tonight. Who do we have with us, and what are we talking about?
Hello, welcome back, race fans, to TNT, the Tuesday Night Tune-Up. I am your host, Safe Grafke, and thank you for joining us from the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. And tonight, we do have a new face here. We have Ashley with us tonight. Ashley, thank you for joining us here on the Tuesday Night Tune-Up and for hosting us here each and every Tuesday night.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, and one thing about Tuesday nights here, it's not just the host of Tuesday Night Tune-Up. It is Kids Buffet. Kids eat free.
Yep, absolutely. Kids eat free here every Tuesday night with each adult purchase. So you can bring in your whole family and get a huge discount. We'd love to see you here.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. And, you know, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. And, you know, they're kind of the unsung heroes, as I would say, kind of up there with, you know, others. And you guys do a lot for the community. And I know you guys are doing a lot right now for teachers. So why don't you tell us all that you're doing for the teachers here in Mahaska County?
Yeah, so we really do appreciate all of our educators out here. We've given gold cards to our educators in Oskaloosa that gets them 50% off their entire order. That's through the entire year. It went out in September of 24. It does expire at the end of this year, but we'll be issuing new ones again in the fall. This week is also Teacher Appreciation Week, and so what we're doing is 2 for $10 large pizzas, that specialty pizzas, 1 toppings, all week long, no limit on that. So 2 large pizzas for $10. We'd love to host you.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible, and for what you're doing for them and what you just, the amount of care we're seeing from the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch, this is, I will say, something newer that is, you know, kind of unexpected in a good way, which is good to see that Pizza Ranch is wanting to step up and really show some muscle and giving back to this community. So we are very excited for you guys, and we really like that. And I know you have some other exciting news of new things that are happening here at Pizza Ranch. I heard maybe there's a rumor that there's a breakfast buffet going on now.
Yeah, absolutely, Safe. So starting a couple weeks ago, we're doing Sunday mornings only, starting at 9:30 a.m. and going till 1 p.m. We're doing a breakfast brunch, and that includes scrambled eggs, a vegetable cacciatore, which is your green peppers, onions, mushrooms, and cherry tomatoes that are roasted in the oven with Parmesan cheese and seasonings. And then we also have sausage links, biscuits and gravy, fresh fruit, yogurt, granola, milk on the buffet, as specially requested by a lot of the people that come in here. Okay. That goes from 9:30 until 11. And then from 11 to 1, we do both our breakfast brunch and our regular lunch buffet. chicken is always on the buffet. So we're really excited to see as many people come in as they have so far. We'd love to see even more people, just giving people in Oskaloosa one more place they can go to get some breakfast Sunday mornings.
Oh, that's awesome. And, you know, speaking of some of your other specials on the buffets, Thursday night, which is one of my favorite nights, you guys have your wing night. Why don't you tell us a little bit what you guys are doing there?
So Thursday night is all-you-can-eat wing night, starting at 4 p.m. We have 3 different varieties of bone-in traditional wings. They're absolutely delicious. Your classic buffalo, garlic parmesan, and barbecue. And then we usually also have a boneless naked wing. So if people want to try these sauces, they can try them before they're trying them on the traditional wings. And that's from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. every Thursday evening.
Oh, that's awesome. Well,
Yep.
again, we just really appreciate everything that Pizza Ranch is doing in our community. Thank you for thinking of the teachers during this week and all year round. I know my wife is a teacher, and she loves the gold card. We do take advantage of that. That's just awesome for what you guys are doing for our teachers and for the community again. So thank you so much, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty, well, we're going to let you get back to
Okay,
it now.
thank you so
have
much
a
for
busy
having
night out
me.
there, so...
Yeah, you bet.
Oh. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break here. We'll be back with Tuesday Night Tune-Up in just a few minutes.
When you need a break, Pizza Ranch is ready. Rough day or good day, sometimes you just need a buffet. And we've got all your favorites always ready to serve. Come to the place that puts a smile on your face. Make it a buffet day at Pizza Ranch.
At Nutrien Ag Solutions, we are dedicated to your success. We partner with growers like you to expand your possibilities with unparalleled offerings. Your unique challenges are met with more customized solutions than anyone else can offer. With you, we're feeding the future together.
West Clark Street in Sigourney. If you've had a run-in with a deer, a fender bender, or any sort of accident with your vehicle, take it to Tony and the guys at Sigourney Body Shop at 210 West Clark Street in Sigourney. They'll get you back on the road in no time, and Tony will help you out with a free estimate. It's service with a smile at Sigourney Body Shop. Give them a call at 641-622-2022, or again, stop in at 210 West Clark Street in Sigourney. Julie's Homestyle Cafe at 216 South Market in Oskaloosa is a small place with a great big taste of home cooking. Established in 2009, Julie's Homestyle Cafe serves breakfast, lunch. You can have a slice of pie, dessert, and soft drinks. Julie's Homestyle Cafe is a veteran-owned cafe serving traditional breakfast and homemade lunch meals just like Mom used to make. Find more information at julieshomestylecafe.com or follow their page on Facebook. Hey, we thank all of our sponsors for making Tuesday Night Tune-Up possible here on Steve Shetler Media, Facebook, and YouTube. Again, we're live from the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch, and it's Kids Night every Tuesday night. Make sure you stop in and take advantage of that. Let's go back to Safe Grafke. Safe, that is not Zach Vanderbeek beside you as we are promoting.
It's not Curtis Vanderwall either.
Who do you have with us tonight?
It's twice as good as Curtis. This is Cole Vanderwall. Cole, thanks for joining me here tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for wanting me on the show tonight.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Glad you could step in for your dad, who is normally here. So this is something new that you have never done before, live on TV.
Yeah, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but I'll get through it.
You will. So, Cole, you know, you have started your racing career off last year. You guys got the car going and everything, and this year you are more full-time in it. Why don't you talk us through kind of how the past year and a half has looked for you guys?
The last year and a half, it's kind of been dad, focusing on racing for dad and, like, me when we get time. But, you know, this year it's kind of been more focus on Cole's car, get mine done, and then dad's second, just because with him traveling, he just wants me to get comfortable in the car and start taking over driving, I think. And then, yeah, so.
Yes, and Cole, you know, racing runs in your guys' blood. You know, you go back to your dad and then your Uncle Corey racing too some and everything they've done. How do you feel like that has maybe helped you with kind of that learning process and everything, just being around that and the amount of knowledge that your dad is able to give you?
Oh yeah, it's pretty great. It made my first night like in the car I just didn't really think about it, so it was kind of way easier than what a normal first night for someone would be getting in a car, just because how much knowledge Dad has, and I know how tuned in he had that old car that he used to drove, and it's just things really good.
So what was it like for you growing up, you know, going to the track with your dad and whatnot, and then applying that to now as you are driving?
I just took a lot of notes from like watching Dad in certain situations, like going through lap cars and passing cars. It's just, you learn so much by just taking a night off from racing and just going to watch. It's unbelievable.
And so for you, you know, you help your dad on Wednesday nights at Oski. So not only are you getting that, but then when you guys are going and racing, are you the one that goes around and you kind of look and see what everyone else is doing, walking around? Are you looking at other cars, getting some ideas, or are you more focusing on just what's in front of you?
You know, on race night, I kind of just try to focus on our own stuff. But like during the week, like I'll be scrolling through Facebook and looking at ideas on like how to groove tires, just seeing how like that Cam Reimers, how he grooves his tires, because I know he wins all the time. Bray, how he grooves his tires, and I start taking notes on that stuff. Then I start incorporating it with us. Me and Dad talk it through and like what it's gonna do and what benefits it'll do. So then, yeah, we incorporate it in our stuff. So that's pretty great. But normally on race night, no, I'm just trying to focus on our own stuff, and I'm the one going around looking at the track, telling Dad like what the track's doing, so then he can plan for the changes and how he needs to drive.
How key is that for you to be able to understand what the track is doing in conjunction with what you guys are going to change on the car or not change on the car? How important is it for someone to be going and looking at the track?
You know, it's very important. It's like you got so many changes that you can make, but there's so many that you can do that could be too far depending on the track condition. And if you go too far, then not necessarily waste a night of racing, but you kind of just gave away what could have been a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, one thing is you're looking at the different generations of racing and then talking about technology. So the biggest thing is now, back then, you know, Facebook really wasn't a big thing. Now we have Facebook, we have TikTok, we have YouTube. How has that helped? Like when you were just talking about how you look at like how Cam and Bray and other people groove their tires and stuff, how big of a role is that actually playing now into racing?
I think it's playing a huge role. It just makes stuff, you got one guy that thinks of it, and then all the other guys are wanting to do it just because they saw a picture of it and they see him in Victory Lane. Like I see people sitting in Victory Lane start zooming in on their pictures and seeing how they groove tires and like how their bodies are cut out and stuff like that. And it does pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one big thing for you was you picked up your first career win the other week at Columbus Junction Speedway. And why don't you tell us about the emotions maybe coming around to the white flag, realizing in the lead, and then crossing the finish line, realizing that you just won your first ever feature event?
You know, on the white flag lap, well, a couple laps prior, I was like, man, this thing has to be about done. I'm getting tired out here. And sure enough, then a couple laps later, he gave us the 3 to go, and I was like, oh, perfect. I might actually have a chance at this thing. And then on that white flag lap, I was like, all right, don't mess up. So I kind of babied it into 1 and 2, just didn't want to blow it in there and spin the tires off of it, because I did do that the week before and spun out, running 5th, catching 3rd and 4th. But then I was just like, don't do it, just drive it. And so I did. Then 3 and 4, I saw Dylan to my inside, we rubbed a little bit. I thought he was going to throw a slider, but he got to my door and we rubbed a little bit. And then I was like, time to gas on it. And I just gassed on it coming off the corner and tires stuck. So I was like, man, I just won. And then going around the track, Dad signals me there right off of 3, like right where you exit the track at Columbus Junction. And he was jumping up and down, super excited. And I was like, man, did I really just win my first race in the sport mods?
Yeah, and that's a really tough track to do that because there are so many good sport mod drivers there. So what's that like for you, knowing that, I know it's only your first one, but having that kind of, do you have that sense at all where it's like, I know that I can compete with these guys. I mean, I can be a top 5 car.
Yeah.
You know, how does that feel?
You know, it feels really great. It's just back to like how good Dad and my Uncle Corey had this car. Is for him to want to pass this thing on to me, it really means a lot, and just kind of crazy on how you got all these guys spending 40, 50 grand on a new car. Then you got this 2007 Harris that's out there still winning.
So that's something I kind of want to talk about a little bit with you too. So we're in kind of a odd space, I want to say, with dirt track racing. It always has cost a lot of money to race, and not saying that it's really changed, but the price of these cars now, as far as I can tell, has gotten a little out of control.
Yeah.
In my own personal opinion, with, you know, you've always looked at racing and it's like, okay, well, yeah, it's, you know, it's kind of a second job. It's a lot to race and all this. You have that aspect, which I understand. And, you know, the cost of the car back then used to be, you know, $10,000 or $12,000. And it's like, okay, well, that's the equivalent to this now. But I feel like we're starting to get in that realm where it's outstretching that even. So how do you see racing from your perspective, being some of this younger generation that's coming up and seeing kind of where things are heading?
It's honestly kind of sad. Just it's going to start making it so then the normal everyday person just has to race one time a week, like maybe even one time a month, just because how expensive it's getting to be. I know like a tire, Dad was telling me, was like $100 back when he first started or so, around there. And now I think they're up to like $157 per tire.
Yeah, it's getting crazy on that side. And, you know, for you to be able to take everything you've learned from your dad and your uncle and growing up at the track and everything, and you're able to run one of these older cars and then go out there and win it in it, how does that feel? You know, what's that like in your perspective, showing that you can do that?
I think it's pretty cool, just because I know Dylan's a really, really, really good driver, and it just, you see him winning all these $1,000 to win shows, $750 to win shows. I think over at CJ that one year, I think he won 12 out of 18 races, I want to say, or something crazy like that, against all the competition that races there now. And just to beat him, it just feels really good, and to know that you can win in an older car.
Absolutely. And moving forward, what are some of the plans for your race team this year? And what are some things you're looking forward to?
I think the plan is Dad's going to run Wednesday nights whenever he's in town, but when he's traveling for work, he said something about going over to Vinton on Sunday nights, just because it's easy. It's not a long haul. It's a smaller track, and he just needs to. I think that's what his problem has been, is just he hasn't been in the seat as much. So then he's kind of rusty when he does get back in it, and then towards the end of the night when he starts getting good, then we have a week or two off. It's just gets to him. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's tough when you go from 1 week racing, then you take some time off, and then you're trying to get back into the car and remembering where you had everything set at and what did you get done, what didn't you get done, did this get done, did that get done, and then, yeah, it can make for a long week, and then it can make for a really short night, too. Just depends.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that help you with your team this year. You have a lot of great sponsors and some people helping you in the pits and whatnot. Who all do you want to thank?
I want to first off thank Steve Shetler for sponsoring our race cars for the last 2 years, you know.
It's the guy behind the camera.
Yeah. And then got Bridgemark Insurance Group, Ozinga Feed Service, Vans Racing, Vaughn Automotive. I got Huffman Fabrication, Record Dental Care, Statesman Lanes, and Tony Witt. Jeff Matrician with Champion Signs, Norway Speed Shop, Jamie Dunnick, he's the one that owns my motor for me. Then Grandma and Grandpa, my mom and dad, Precision Performance Racing Suspension, they play a big role in what we do. Dynamic Drive Lines, Performance Bodies, Sunoco Race Fuels, Aero Race Wheels, Huffman Fabrication. I know I'm probably forgetting some of them, but that's a majority of them.
Sure. So one last thing I want to touch on here. I know this person was a very big part of your dad's race team, and I know he still is, and that's Scott Langfit. And Scott has played such a vital role with your dad's team forever, and seeing Scott on Wednesday nights and whatnot, and just everything he's been through and whatnot. How is that for you, knowing that he can, he I know he still talks to you guys and whatnot and communicates. How's that all for you on that end?
Oh, he still has a pretty big role in what we do. It's if Dad's traveling, I know last year he took me to 3 or 4 races just because my dad shot him a text and he's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I want to watch him race. I haven't been able to watch him race, and I really want to watch him race. And can't thank his wife enough, Kim, for letting him take me and going with me and trusting me that I won't cause too much havoc for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, just Scott, I know he loved going to those races with you when he could and traveling with you, and it's so awesome that he was able to have that time going with you. And I know he had to be super excited when he picked up that win the other week at Columbus Junction.
Yeah, I think he's one of the first one that texted me, and I didn't really know what to say, but I just said thank you, but I need to go talk to him in person about it and tell him all about it and stuff, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. I need to this week, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, this is going to conclude our interview portion. Wow, look at that, mumbling my words over here, stumbling, bumbling. So, okay, we'll be right back with Cole in just a few minutes to talk about some results and everything going on in the racing world. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
At Copeland Auto Body, we strive to be the area's consistent provider of advanced collision repair. We want all of our customers to have a stress-free experience when they bring their car to Copeland Auto Body. Give them a call at 641-653-2140. Find them online at CopelandAutoBody.com. Copeland Auto Body, located in Hedrick, Copeland Collision Center in Oskaloosa, and Copeland Towing and Recovery in Sigourney. For auto body and towing for Hedrick, Oskaloosa, and Sigourney, see Copeland Auto Body. Got a problem under the hood? At Sinclair Napa, we're here to help. No matter if you're tuning up the family car, gearing up your heavy-duty truck, or maintaining your boat, we have the know-how you need to keep your ride running strong. Whether it's top-notch parts, expert advice, or unbeatable customer service, Sinclair Napa is your one-stop shop for all your automotive needs. Because at Sinclair Napa, we don't just sell parts, we're here to help you get the job done. Stop by today in Sigourney, Montezuma, Williamsburg, Centerville, or Ottumwa, or visit us at SinclairNapa.com. Stop by James Family Greenhouse and Produce in Sigourney. They have a variety of hanging baskets, annuals, shrubs, perennials, trees, mulch, and vegetable plants. Plus, you can spruce up your landscape with yard decor or decorate the inside of your home with home decor. James Family Greenhouse is also a great place to stop in for some gift ideas. You gotta stop in and see it all for yourself. James Family Greenhouse at 701 East Jackson in Sigourney. And be sure to follow their page on Facebook. Sigourney Motors is a great place for quality used cars and trucks, and most vehicles are priced under $10,000. Right now featuring a blue 2012 Ford Fusion all-wheel drive. And also a 2010 Chevy Equinox LT. Runs and drives great, priced at just $74.95. Sigourney Motors also offers oil changes and maintenance repairs and more. Stop in and see CJ at 705 East Jackson in Sigourney. Call 641-224-8056 or email SigourneyMotors@gmail.com. Hey, we are back live at the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch for Tuesday Night Tune-Up TNT. We do thank the Pizza Ranch for being our host venue and one of our sponsors. Also, Nutrien Ag Solutions in Keswick, Sigourney Body Shop, Julie's Homestyle Cafe, Copeland Auto Body, Sinclair Napa, James Family Greenhouse, and Sigourney Motors. Let's go back to Safe for a little bit more of the Tuesday Night Tune-Up.
All right, welcome back, race fans, to TNT, the Tuesday Night Tune-Up. It is the last segment here of the night. We're going to talk about some racing results and things going on in the racing world. We have Cole here with us still. Cole, thanks for deciding to do this as well. I know your Pops is probably watching. Super proud of you right now.
Yeah, he's probably just getting done with the trade show out in Vegas, so.
That sounds not as fun as being here on a Tuesday Night Tune-Up episode. I can tell you that right now.
I would not want to do it.
So real quick, I do want to touch on one thing first. So I know for a fact that you have been working here and there at Haynes Auto Supply here in Oskaloosa, and Jeff Haynes was a longtime racer. Have you been able to get any speed secrets out of that place yet from Jeff or anyone there?
Oh,
I kind of want to know now.
He tells me about some stories on like what he used to do and stuff that I should try and just driving tips, you know.
And yeah, Jeff has obviously he's been one of the best to come out of Oskaloosa. He has a lot of feature wins and a lot of the top fives. I mean, when you talk about racing here in Southeast Iowa, that is one of the names that pops up as Jeff Haynes. So that's cool that you've been able to be there. You know, they have the machine shop in the back and whatnot. That was ran by two of the most famous people in this area, which is the Durian brothers. So getting to be there and see kind of everything that's happened there, that's got to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is really cool. I forgot to thank him and his wife Kimberly. They give me some stuff once in a while for sponsorship and stuff like that. So it's pretty awesome that he wants to do that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're going to talk about some racing stuff here, and I know that you are kind of knowledgeable in some of this. We're going to test your skills out here tonight a little bit. So we're going to start talking about World Outlaw Sprint Cars. Now, here's the big question, Cole. Are you a sprint car fan or a late model when it comes to a big touring series? Or you need none of that? Are you like a USAC or what's your flavor?
If I had to pick out of those two, it'd probably be late models. But I mean, if we're
okay.
I really like the IMCA stuff around here, just going to watch like all over Iowa with people. So yeah.
So touring series wise, you're a late model fan more than you would be a sprint car?
Yes, sir.
What about modifieds?
Yeah, I like watching USMTS. It's pretty fun to watch too. Their ideas are great on the cars, on like what they start doing and stuff like that. So you take some of those ideas too. There's
some really good drivers out of that series that could get into about anything and go win a race somewhere. 100% hands down. So we are going to start with the World Outlaw Sprint Cars, though. Do you ever make it up to Knoxville and watch a sprint car feature here or there ever?
Oh, once in a while. Every couple years, me and Dad will go, and depending on what Mom wants to do, she might go. Normally not, but once in a while she will.
Oh, that's cool. So we had the World Outlaws. They went out to Eldora. It was supposed to be a 2-day swing out there for them for what they call the Let's Race 2, which is accompanied with the USAC non-wing, and they were only able to get one night in. Surprise, surprise, Mother Nature with her handiwork, always picking up a victory here and there, especially when we're in the early stages of the year. It seems like she does pretty good in the spring for picking up all of her feature wins.
Yeah, she does a really good job. I think there's a lot of tracks that got canceled because of her this weekend. So
I would 100% agree with that. So Let's Race 2. We had our winner for the World Outlaw Sprint Cars. Surprise, surprise. We had David Gravel picking up the feature win. And in the USAC non-wing cars, we had Brady Macho Man Bacon picking up the W, and there's absolutely zero surprise that either of those drivers would see victory lane out at Eldora Speedway or any speedway for that matter.
Yeah, all that Brady Bacon, he's really good. It's when me and Dad went over to watch one night at Knoxville, I think he was running there, and I was like, I couldn't ever remember his first name, but man, did I remember his last name. It's so unique. It
is hard to miss.
Yeah. And
I always think of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Actor. It's hard. I wonder if they're related. That would be a good question.
We could probably text him.
We probably could and find out very fast. Yeah, but again, both of those guys, cream of the crop. When you talk about USAC non-wing racing, you think of Brady Bacon. When you think of sprint car racing right now, David Gravel definitely is at the top of the list there.
Yeah, David Gravel's really good. It's crazy to watch him. You see all those other guys stalling on the wheel, and Gravel's pretty smooth. And
yeah, that Todd Queering owned car is doing really good right now. They are looking to on pace right now. They are top of points by a good margin now over Carson Macedo and Logan Schuchart. So it looks like David could possibly go back-to-back this year for the championship with the World Outlaws. And it is a little odd hearing that, as you don't hear Brad Sweet anymore with the World Outlaws sprint cars. So now that role has been filled by David Gravel.
yeah, I think that Carson Macedo is pretty good too. Just
He is.
him and that Gravel will probably be really close in points towards the end of the year because with the sprint car you can always account for a couple crashes and a couple throwaway nights. So
It seems if you look at the points breakdown and then you look at TQ throughout the year and stuff, it bounces back and forth a lot between David and Carson. And again, the World Outlaws are one of the oddest point systems out there, no matter what anyone says, as their points are more based on qualifying than wins or heat race wins. It is very odd. It is kind of like how Knoxville is with timing. Same idea is if you get quick time, that is mainly your points for the night, and it is absolutely crazy.
I mean, it makes sense. Just thinking, how many cars do they get a night? 30, 40?
True.
Just thinking that you're the fastest of them all, and it has to be worth something at least.
I can't argue that. That is a good point. That is a good point. I just think it hurts a little bit because it seems like time trials, it depends on when you go out, especially when you have 40 cars or so. You go towards the front, might be too slimy, towards the end, a little too slick, kind of depends. But, again, I do agree with if you do get the fastest out of 40 cars, then yes, it is definitely worth something. So it's just one of those odd things. It all depends on the draw. The draw is super important, and especially in IMCA world as well. When you go to a track, and if you have a bad draw, then you might have yourself a long night on the track.
Yeah, some nights you're just like, man, do I just pack up now and go home?
Absolutely. So the next race for the World Outlaw Sprint Cars is tomorrow night. They are at Lincoln Speedway in Pennsylvania for the Gettysburg Clash. It's kind of starting that whole West Coast swing or East Coast swing for them, where they'll roll through Pennsylvania, go through upstate New York, kind of through that area, and they come back through the Midwest, kind of head down south, come back west, and then do it all over again and finally end up back in North Carolina for the World Finals. So we're starting to get to that point where they will slowly start to work east, and then they'll come back to the Midwest, and then again Texas, all that, West Coast, and then back in the Midwest. So always a good time when they go out to Pennsylvania. Well, it's a very good headline when you have the porch sitters out there in Pennsylvania versus the World Outlaw guys on who is going to win. There's a lot of controversy around Danny Dietrich and Jacob Allen and Ashton Torgensen right now, but we will get into that here a little bit later. Next up we have to talk about in the world of racing is the arch rival to the World Outlaw Sprint Cars, and that is the High Limit Series owned by Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson, who have just recently flexed on Facebook showing their new mobile command center that is absolutely ridiculous and makes the World Outlaws look like a wet paper bag. I don't know if you've seen any of those photos at all, but it is absolutely insane. I think it's probably even nicer than NBC's.
Yeah, I haven't seen any pictures, but I assume if Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet are a part of it, they always have the best of the best, nicest of the nicest. So I wouldn't put it past them to have a really nice.
I think we're starting to see that shift of drivers preferring to go to a high limit race than a World of Outlaw race. I know your dad and I talked about this last week, where it's kind of the old guard versus the new guard, and you are seeing this where outlaw drivers aren't talking to high limit drivers. High limit drivers aren't really speaking to outlaw drivers. There is a lot of tension in the room when they get together, and I really think that this is going to make that break here one of these days now.
Yeah, I mean, when High Limit's paying how good they pay just through the field, and I don't know what World of Outlaws pays, but High Limit, what's their lowest, like 20 grand to win?
Yeah, it is double what the World Outlaw pays out for a weekly show.
Yeah, see, at that point, you can't justify running World of Outlaws unless you're like a rookie going for points, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, though. You look at breakdown of funding throughout the field, and it is crazy to see how in 2.5 years, how the High Limit Series has came in and made such a impact and what they are doing for racing. And I'm wondering if by next year we see it where we only have a handful of full-time World of Outlaw drivers on the series. I know it keeps going down and down and down and down. I mean, you had 6 guys leave last year between, I mean, you had both of Casey Kane cars leave. You had Spencer Baston leave, followed by Jacob Allen technically did leave, and he was going to go high limits, but then he decided not to race at all anymore. So you have a handful now that have gone from old guard to the new guard, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year with that as well.
Yeah, I won't put it past World of Outlaws in a couple of years. They just won't have that series anymore just because how many cars High Limit brings on a night and what they pay.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the thing was, what's really cool too is High Limits is paying attention to other touring series as well and other series that aren't in dirt track racing, because what they did here was very smart. We're going to talk about that right now. They went to Texas Motor Speedway, to the dirt track at Texas Motor Speedway, knowing that the NASCAR Cup Series had a race there that weekend too. So they were able to get Ty Gibbs, Kyle Larson, and a few other NASCAR drivers to come over and race with them earlier in the week. And if the World Outlaws weren't paying attention to that, they probably should start planning their racing schedule a little better, because to have the guys that came and ran with them there, and then for Ty Gibbs to make 2 features in a row racing with the High Limit Series is really showing something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really smart, planning on a big weekend like that. And the tracks are pretty close to each other, so fans probably are like, oh, another day that we can get away and go watch more racing. And with all those big names, who wouldn't want to go watch?
Yeah, I mean, the logic here is by far some of the best logic that's happened since the 90s World Outlaws. Here's the thing about the World Racing Group. Whoever used to be in charge was amazing. And I say that wholeheartedly because you saw them going to Topeka and racing on a drag strip. You saw them going to Bristol and putting dirt on Bristol. You saw them taking things that weren't a racetrack to any degree and making them into a racetrack. And it caused some of the greatest racing with some of the biggest rivalries ever. And then they're kind of like, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to, here it is. This is the formula. The formula is always going to work. We're going to stick with that. And now you have these guys coming in being like, well, we can do what they used to do, but with more money, better payouts, and we're going to do it. And they are, hands down. This is the smartest thing to happen in the world of sprint car racing since the 90s, which is looking and paying attention and scheduling correctly, and no one else is doing that. And the High Limits is showing that these guys know what they are doing. No one else is doing that at all.
Yeah. I think that Larson and Brad Sweet, they plan really good, and they're super smart together, and Yeah, they are. What's that word called? Where they're, the.
You lost me. What word are we looking for?
I don't know. Isn't Brad like married to?
Oh yeah, they're brother-in-laws.
Yeah, in-laws. There we
In-laws.
go.
There we go. Thank you, Neil.
I never said I was very smart.
No, you're okay, buddy. So here's the thing. So they ran at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, very smart move by them. And it was California dreaming in Texas by far. You had Rico Abreu, Kyle Larson, and Brad Sweet, 3 best friends who grew up together in the racing world, coming back in a podium finish for the Kings of California Dirt.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet, being childhood friends and just being able to go race against the best in the world in sprint cars, going to race against each other and know that you guys can all run top 3. It's pretty sweet.
It is. It's. I think it's very humbling for them because if you don't know, these 3 really, I mean, and I'm not trying to say this necessarily, but Rico came from a very successful family background and winemaking. They have a huge vineyard in Napa Valley and stuff. But then you have Kyle and Brad who didn't come from that, happened to know Rico from school and stuff. They bought carts. Their dads would take them around in the back of pickups with just a little cart. They would go racing, and these 2 worked extra hard to win. And you had Rico, who was putting in just as much effort to win as well, and he has a lot of setbacks in his life. But for these 3 to go somewhere and be the top 3 really shows the talent level, the amount of time that they have put in together, because they spend a lot of time together. They still have a race track at Rico's that they go on and run around on go-karts and what stuff. But then to go up against everyone else and be a top 3, it's truly remarkable.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
So now we're going to talk about what you prefer, which is late model racing. And so as someone who's racing in sport mods now, would you ever, if someone said, hey, you know what, we're going to go put you in a Lucas Oil late model race, would you do it?
Oh, 100% I would. It's just one of those things. If I had a test session before the race, that'd be great, because I'd probably fry the tires off that thing. I wouldn't know what to do, but I'd definitely drive one.
Yeah, I mean, late model racing is another one where it has really evolved, and you've had this though a lot longer, where there's been a split series, World Outlaw, Lucas Oil late model. That's been around for a long time. And then you look at kind of the figureheads. You have Bobby Pierce on the World Outlaw side, but then you also have Bobby Pierce on the Lucas Oil side, but now you have Bobby Pierce on the World Outlaw side. Now you have Ricky Thornton Jr. really as the figurehead for the Lucas Oil. So for you seeing that, how is that as a fan of late model racing to know there really being one figurehead between the 2 series, now there's more so 2 figureheads?
Yeah, I mean, Ricky's really good. Bobby's really good. It's just matter of fact of who you like better, and that's probably the series that you're going to want to follow.
Yeah. So we had the Dairyland Showdown, which was at one of my favorite racetracks in the United States, Mississippi Thunder Valley over in Wisconsin. And it's a 2-night show. The finale night is the one we're going to talk about. Nick Hoffman picks up a feature win in the number 9. It's really good to see Nick back in victory lane. He is a newer driver to the late model scene. He's been a big time modified driver for a long time. Gets help from Kenny Wallace. He's from the St. Louis area. It's a really cool story with Nick. He battled some injuries after a car accident, and now to see him getting these wins on a big touring late model series is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cool. Just knowing that when you race a modified for all your years and then you can go to a late model. I know Nick, one of the best that ever raced a modified probably, especially on the UMP side of it. He was really, really good, about unbeatable. You see him pull into the pits, you're like, well, I know I'm running for second tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Nick is arguably, yes, probably one of the best UMP modified racers of our generation. And it's cool to see him, like you said, getting into this late model and winning. And then their next race, though, is a little bit longer off. It'll be next week. They have a little bit of a break here. May 15th is their next race. They go to Raceway 7. Great name, by the way, just Raceway 7, and it just really makes you question if that's a real racetrack or not. To me, it sounds made up, like it's just a test facility of some sort.
Yeah.
It's over in Ohio, so they're going to go through their kind of Ohio, and then I think they go to Indiana, and then they kind of just veer off to the East Coast. Very odd touring series with the World Outlaw late models because they are so over the place that you haven't. It's really hard to keep track of their scheduling. I kind of like that better, though, because it's not so concrete like the sprint cars where it's a pattern. It's the same thing over and over, The World Outlaw late models, you have absolutely zero clue where they're going. And now their head sponsor is Hulk Hogan's beer, Real American Beer. Give us that... Folks, if we could turn the camera around and show Steve in the background, that would be great.
Come on, brother.
Yeah, brother. So, yeah, Hulk Hogan beer head sponsor for the World Outlaw late models. Absolutely insane. As Morton Builders was their title sponsor for a very long time, and now it's kind of odd to have a beer company as their title sponsor. It's a little different. It's kind of odd, don't you think?
Yeah, you wouldn't really think. I mean, you don't really want to be drinking and driving, but it's kind of weird how those two go together. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything opposite of what we've ever been taught in our whole lives, but good for Hulk. I would love to see him show up to one of these and take two of his beers and just bash them together and then try to chug them and throw them down and give a heck yeah, brother. I think I don't know if anything could beat that, honestly. I think that's better than watching Caitlin Larson shotgun a Busch Light, I think, by far.
I think if we had Steve do something like that, that'd be pretty great.
That's it. Okay, folks, hear that tomorrow night at the Southern Iowa Speedway. Steve Shetler's going to dress up as Hulk Hogan and smash two beers in Victory Lane. Steve, what do you think of that idea?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. I'd come down there and I would lay the smack down on you, Mean Gene. Back to you.
There we go. So Steve will be at the Southern Iowa Speedway tomorrow night as a Hulk Hogan lookalike. Neil will be recording off of his phone.
It'll be horrible.
It'll be horrible. If you want to see pixels, just ask for Neil to send a photo or a video off his phone. Anyway, so that's all we have there on the late model side. NASCAR side, they were, again, great by High Limit to think of this. Texas Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Cup Series and the Xfinity and the Truck Series. We saw Frankie Muniz have a complete meltdown about 3/4 of the way through the race. So Malcolm in the middle was definitely trying to get out of the middle of the race. He was not a happy camper at all. I don't know if you saw that at all or any of the video afterward, but I have never seen anyone have a complete meltdown like that and then chuck their helmet and walk off of the racing surface like Frankie Muniz.
I've heard that they're doing a Malcolm in the Middle reboot, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
That'll end like his racing career has with a crash and a burn.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't think I've really ever seen someone throw that big of a tantrum, but
it's up there with the Busch brothers, for sure. For sure. I would say he's right up there. He's reaching Kurt Busch level.
Yeah, Kurt Busch was definitely...
Yeah.
He has some character to him. So does Kyle.
Yeah, I would say, it was not a good day to be Malcolm in the middle. So, anyway, on the Cup side, Joey Logano and the 22 Penske Ford picked up a victory there after a long race racing with Michael McDowell, Kyle Larson, and a few of the others there. So a good race in Texas. Their next race is this coming weekend. It is close here to Iowa, so you should plan accordingly. They're going to be at Kansas Speedway for the Advent Health 400. So always good when they get to come back to the Midwest. It is always a good race down there at Kansas. I usually go to the playoff race later in the year, but some really good racing action happens down there. in Kansas. So, have you ever been to Kansas Motor Speedway?
I have not. I don't really. We haven't really been to many NASCAR tracks outside of the state. I know we've been to Iowa Speedway. We used to help a guy that used to run up there a little bit here and there. So.
Well, and your dad raced asphalt for quite a while too. So.
Yeah, I'd think probably for around 15 or so years. I want to say 10, 15 years.
Yeah. So anyway, so there is some good racing that's going to be close here for the NASCAR series before they come to Iowa here later this summer. So always good to have NASCAR in the Midwest. It's always exciting. It should be a good race. I know Kyle Larson is one of the favored to wins. No surprise there, as he is good on the smaller tracks with the NASCAR series.
Yeah, I think he can drive just about anything. You put him in a
You know what? I think we need to put him in a hobby stock at the Southern Iowa Speedway.
I think you could put him in a shopping cart and he'd win. So
Really? That honestly could be. We don't know. So we will talk here a little bit about the Southern Iowa Speedway. Wednesday night was the season opener, and unfortunately, Mother Nature won three of the 5 features that night. Before she was able to pick up a win in the stock cars, sport mods, and hobby stocks, we had 2 winners that were able to make it to victory lane besides her. In the non-wing, we had the number 93 machine of A.J. Johnson. He has been super fast in that car here the last couple of years, running in that non-wing series at the Southern Iowa Speedway. And then in the sport compacts, you had Brandon Pickney picking up a feature win. Brandon, another very tough driver to beat, in a very stacked and loaded class there in the sport compacts.
yeah, I think Brandon and Seth Minders had a pretty good battle coming out of 4 there, and I think they rubbed a little bit, but Brandon came out on top.
He did. And so now this Wednesday night, tomorrow night at the Southern Iowa Speedway is DeYoung Manufacturing free popcorn night and double features for your sport modifieds and hobby stocks. So Cole, you're gonna have a long night ahead of you.
Yeah, if he wasn't out in Vegas, we'd be racing
Oh
both
no,
features,
he can't
but
make it tomorrow night.
No,
Oh boy,
I was trying to make him let me race, but
how'd that work out?
no, I had him talked into it for about 30 minutes. Then
Wow, that's pretty good.
he's like, I don't know, man.
That's a long night though, double features.
Yeah, it'll be a late one. That's for sure.
But it will be a good night. Again, we want to thank Matt DeYoung and the rest of the team up there at DeYoung Manufacturing for sponsoring the DeYoung Manufacturing free popcorn night. It's always a good night at the races when you can go and get a nice bag of fresh popcorn for free.
Yeah, Matt's a really good guy. We used to travel doing go-kart stuff with him, and he powder coated my seat for me, and he's helped me along the way. So it's really nice to have a connection like him, and how awesome of a man he is and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're at the track, they help a lot of people at the track with advice, some setup stuff, whatever. And that's the thing about you and your dad as well that's really cool is you guys have such a big client base with Vans Racing, and that's really cool to see you guys helping out the local racers here and whatnot. Your dad, he takes time away from working on his car sometimes if people have questions, people need something, whatever, and that is just really cool that you guys are able to help and show support like that to your clients and whatnot, and what Vans Racing is able to do for the Mahaska County and surrounding counties as far as helping out with race parts and whatnot.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Just all the people that you get to meet and the people that you get to talk to and the different classes. Then you get to learn more about cars, because I know my buddy Kason Keller, he runs a stock car, and last year I helped him quite a bit, and it's cool to start learning another class so then you can help people if they have questions. And I know my dad knows most of everything about most cars, but it's pretty cool to gain that knowledge myself, like on my own pace, instead of him talking me through stuff, and I just want to learn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is you have these growing classes, and stock cars arguably is one of the fastest growing classes in IMCA, or really any series, mainly IMCA, is that it is so quick, and you are seeing these ridiculous payouts. You are seeing the series pop up, especially with the XR and whatnot, and to see that is quite remarkable how far stock car racing has come. You know, it's the class called Too Tough to Tame for a reason, but we are seeing a lot of drivers as well going to sport mods and whatnot. I mean, Nathan Ballard's running a sport mod on asphalt, and he's going to run it some on dirt. You have Dustin Griffiths, who got out of one of the classes and is now running a sport mod. I mean, it is kind of the shift that we're seeing, and it seems to be this ongoing trend that sport mods and stock cars are really starting to come to life in quite a big way.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty similar. I mean, I know the stock car doesn't have much side bite, but the power can't be too much different. I wouldn't think so, because stock car's heavier, it has a little bit more power. Sport mod's lighter and has a little bit less power, so it's kind of pretty even there.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool. We have racing here Wednesday night, tomorrow night. Tonight is kids' night, eat free at Pizza Ranch. Thursday night, though, folks.
There you go.
Right here. Right here. Cool. I want you to make sure you can see this, too. Okay, see that right there? Thursday night wing night here at your Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. It is absolutely incredible. 4 to 8. Come get some really good wings. Have you had wings here yet?
I have not. I'll have to take your word and have to come get some sometime.
You're going to have to come here Thursday night, folks. Wing night here at the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. You cannot miss it.
Safe, did you just break that sign?
No.
If you break it, you buy it.
Fixed. You got some 100-mile-an-hour tape that I can borrow?
Okay. Might have something.
Okay, anyway, folks, Thursday night, you got to make sure you come to this. You'll have a great night of the races tomorrow night, and then you're going to come here the following night and eat all-you-can-eat wings from 4 to 8 here at the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. It is great. They are so good. The bone-in wings are awesome. You can get some naked wings, too, so you can try all the sauces. Just make sure you get up here and eat some wings at your local Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. And Cole and I are going to have a wing eating competition. Neil is going to judge, and Steve is going to record it. So, Cole, I don't know if he will be able to beat me or not, but we'll find out.
You know, I think I'll give you a run for your money.
Really? Okay, look at that.
I got faith in myself here.
Okay, I guess we'll find out, and we'll let you folks be the judge of who can eat more wings here at the Oskaloosa.
No napkins. You have to do it without any napkins. It's just...
That's fine. That's fine. Bring it on. Bring it. Bring it. So anyway, again, folks, we have some great racing action this week. Friday night, you can go over to Columbus Junction Speedway, Marshalltown, and Sunday, Vinton has racing. So there are some great tracks. Make sure you find out when your local track is racing and go support your local dirt track. It's very important to do that, especially right now. So
yeah.
Again, Cole, thanks for coming on tonight and filling in for your dad. I think, you did so well tonight. When your dad can't make it, you're just going to have to be the fill-in.
Well, we could probably work that out.
Okay, there we go, folks. Again, we want to thank you all for watching TNT, the Tuesday Night Tune-Up, live from the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch, and we will see you all at the races. Don't go changing on us now.
Hey, we do thank Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. We thank Nutrien Ag Solutions in Keswick, Sigourney Body Shop, Julie's Homestyle Cafe, Copeland Auto Body, Sinclair, Napa, James Family Greenhouse, and Sigourney Motors for all being on board as sponsors of the Tuesday Night Tune-Up. We'll see you next Tuesday.